Madame, where is your husband? Call your husband now. We need him here.
I am calling. He is not picking. Please, just save my baby.
Do not give up, madam. Keep trying. Call again. Do not close your eyes, madam. Stay with me.
On this bed, I was calling the man who chose another woman over me. In my marriage, my mother-in-law was the real wife. I was just the woman who lived in the house.
The day my baby died, I was lying on a hospital bed with blood on my legs, my stomach tight like a stone, and a nurse shouting at me, "Madam, where's your husband? Call him now. We need him here." My hands were shaking. My phone was wet with sweat. I pressed the call button again and again. The screen just kept saying, "Calling, calling, calling." No answer. At that same moment, my husband was in a car on the other side of the city. He was driving his mother to a spa. The radio was playing. They were laughing together. While I was fighting for my life and the life of our child, he was choosing her comfort over my emergency. If you were the woman on that bed, what would you do? Stay and keep a marriage or walk away forever? Tell me in the comments. But before I tell you my story, please comment where you are watching from. I love seeing how far these stories reach. And while you are there, hit the like and subscribe button so you don't miss any videos. These stories are not just for entertainment. They show how people think, the choices they make, and the truths they try to hide. Subscribing helps this channel grow, and your comment might help someone who is dealing with something similar. So please, take a second to like, subscribe, and share your city. All right, let us get into the story and see what happened to this quiet wife. My name does not matter. What matters is what happened to me. And if you are a woman who has ever felt invisible in your own home, this story will touch your heart. People used to say I was too quiet for this world. If a waiter brought the wrong food at a restaurant, I would smile and eat it. If my boss blamed me for a mistake I did not make, I would stay late and fix it without complaint. I believed that peace was more important than truth, even when that peace was slowly killing me inside. My mother raised me that way. She always said, "A woman's crown is her marriage. Swallow what you must swallow. Close your mouth. Respect your husband. Respect his people. That is how you stay." So, when I saw women crying about their husbands, my mother would shake her head and say, "At least she still has a home. Better to cry inside your husband's house than laugh outside as a divorced woman." Those words entered my bones like cold water. I carried them with me into my own marriage. When I met the man who would become my husband, I thought my patience had finally brought me a blessing. He was tall, soft-spoken, always smiling. He worked with a building company in the city. He wore clean shirts. He spoke gently. People respected him. But there was one thing everybody knew about him: his mother. She was a strong woman, a widow. She had raised him alone after his father died. In our town, people used to joke, "If you marry that man, know that you are marrying his mother too." They laughed when they said it, but there was deep truth hiding inside that laughter. The first time he brought me to their family compound, I saw the bond between them with my own eyes. She sat beside him on the wooden bench, her hand always touching his knee or his shoulder. She served him food with her own hand, blowing on the soup like he was still a small boy of 5 years. When I knelt to greet her, she smiled, but her eyes measured me from my head to my toes. "So, this is the one," she said slowly. quiet girl. I hope you know how to keep quiet inside marriage too." I kept my head down and answered, "Yes, ma, I will do my best." Her son held my hand and said, "Mom, she is a good woman. You will love her." He was right about one thing. She did love me, but not the way a mother loves a daughter. She loved me the way a queen loves a servant. Our traditional wedding day was supposed to be the happiest day of my life. The canopies were full, drums were beating, people were dancing, women tied bright wrappers around their waists, men wore their finest native clothes. The air smelled of jollof rice and celebration. When they brought my husband and I out to the center to dance as husband and wife, my heart was so full. I was shy but happy. This was the moment I had dreamed of since I was a little girl. When the MC shouted into the microphone, "New couple, come out and give us your first dance." My husband took my hand. The music started. I looked up at his face and felt safe. Before we could even take 3 steps together, I saw a flash of colorful wrapper fly past my eyes. His mother had jumped into the middle of the dance floor. She gently pushed herself between us and grabbed his hands. "Wait, wait, let me bless my son first, before any other woman dances with him. His mother must dance with him. Without me, there is no him." The crowd laughed and clapped. Some people shouted, "Dance with your first wife." They thought it was a beautiful moment between mother and son. She danced with him for almost the entire song. She spun him around. She pressed her head against his chest. She held him like he was her husband returning from a long journey. And I stood at the edge of the dance floor, alone in my own wedding, smiling with my mouth but crying with my eyes. When the MC tried to bring me back to the center, she raised her hand and stopped him. "Let me enjoy my son. She will dance with him for the rest of her life. Allow me this moment." That night, after all the guests had gone home, my own mother saw my face. She held my hands and said, "Do not worry, my daughter. That is how some mothers behave with their sons. Just respect her. Do not complain. Remember what I taught you. Your marriage is your crown." So, I swallowed the pain. I told myself it was just one dance. It didn't mean anything. But I was wrong. That dance was not just a dance. It was a sign of everything that was coming. After the marriage, my husband and I moved into a small flat in the city. I was so excited to start our new life together. Just the two of us, building our home, creating our own memories. But from the very first week, I discovered a painful truth. We were not 2 people in that marriage. We were 3. My husband, his mother, and me. His mother had her own key to our flat. She came and went as she pleased. She never knocked. She never asked permission. She would just appear, like she owned the place. One afternoon, I came home from work to find our sitting room completely empty. Our sofa was gone, our curtains were gone, even our small center table had disappeared. I ran outside in confusion and saw men offloading furniture from a truck. But it wasn't our furniture. It was heavy leather chairs, dark curtains, a big glass table. "Madame said we should bring these," one of the men told me. "She said her son cannot stay with cheap things." Before I could respond, my mother-in-law appeared behind them. She was smiling proudly, her hands on her hips. "My daughter, your taste is small, but do not worry. I have come to lift you. These are the kind of things that suit my son. You can keep your old things in one small room if you like." I looked at my husband, hoping he would say something, hoping he would tell his mother that this was our home and we should decide what goes in it. He just shrugged. "She already paid for them. What do you want me to say? She is trying to help us." That night, lying on a bed with sheets I did not choose, in a room painted a color I did not like, I heard laughter coming from the sitting room. My husband and his mother were watching something on the television, sharing jokes from before I ever knew him. And I heard her voice clearly through the wall. She said, "This house is also my own house. That girl is just a caretaker. If she misbehaves, we will collect our son and our house back." My heart broke quietly in the darkness. Have you ever felt like a stranger inside your own home? Like you are just visiting a place that is supposed to be yours? If you understand this feeling, drop the words "I understand" in the comments. Let other women know they are not alone. As the months passed, her control grew tighter and tighter. If I wanted to buy anything for the house, anything at all, my husband would say, "Wait, let me ask my mother if she thinks it is good." If I wanted to try a new hairstyle, he would say, "My mom doesn't like women who braid like that. Please leave it." Even my clothes she controlled. One Sunday morning, I wore a simple, neat dress that stopped just below my knees. Nothing tight, nothing loud, just a normal dress for church. When I came out of the bedroom ready to leave, I met my mother-in-law sitting in our living room. She had slept over again without any warning. She looked at me slowly, from my head to my feet. "Where are you going dressed like that?" she asked. "To church, Ma," I replied. "To church or to collect other people's husbands?" Her voice was sharp. "Go back inside. Change to something proper. No wife of my son will be opening her body like that in public." The dress was not even short, but I went back and changed into a long wrapper. When we got to church that morning, she walked proudly in front. I walked behind like her maid. She even claimed the names of children that were not yet born. Whenever we visited her house, she would say, "When you give me my first grandson, his name will be Peter, after my late husband. Nobody will call my grandson any strange name. I hope you know that." If I tried to say, "Ma, what if we want to?" she would wave her hand and cut me off. "What do you know about names? Did you build this family? Keep quiet." Even my husband's phone was not safe from her. Whenever I called him and he was at his mother's house, it was not his voice I heard, it was hers. "Yes, what do you want?" she would say. "Ma, please, I want to speak to my husband." "He is resting. Why are you disturbing my son? Is something burning in the house? Are you dying? If not, call later." Sometimes I could hear him laughing in the background with visitors. He was awake, he was fine, but he allowed his mother to answer his phone. He allowed her to decide when his own wife could speak to him. Let me ask you something. If your husband's mother answered his phone every time you called and told you to call back later, how would you feel? Drop your answer in the comments. I am reading every single one. Our first wedding anniversary arrived. I had saved money for weeks to cook his favorite food and buy him a simple gift, just a wristwatch, nothing expensive. I decorated our small dining table with a cloth and a candle. I wore my nicest dress. My heart was soft with hope. I told myself, whatever his mother has done before, today is about us, just me and my husband. That morning, he woke up with a smile on his face. "I have a surprise for you," he said. My heart jumped with excitement. "Really? What is it?" He nodded. "I am traveling with my mother. We are going to Dubai for 1 week. She has never entered an airplane before. I want to spoil her. I bought the tickets already. We will celebrate our anniversary when I come back." The words hit me like cold water. "And me?" I asked quietly. He did not even look at my face properly. "You know we do not have much money right now. Just be happy for her. You are young. Your time will come." He left that afternoon with his mother. They were laughing and excited, carrying their bags to the taxi.
I sat alone in our flat, looking at the food I had prepared for a man who was now in the sky with another woman on our anniversary. 3 days later, I saw the pictures on his cousin's phone. My husband and his mother on a boat, my husband and his mother inside a big shopping mall, my husband and his mother at a jewelry shop. He bought her a shining gold necklace and matching earrings. In the pictures, she was holding them up to her neck, laughing like a young bride. When they came back 1 week later, my husband entered our flat first, opening his bag to show me everything he bought for her: gold, expensive clothes, perfumes. Then my husband handed me a box. "Happy anniversary," he said. "I got you something too." I opened it. Inside was a cooking pot, a metal cooking pot. "I noticed our pots are getting old. This one is very strong. You will like it." I held the pot in my hands. It was good quality, but at that moment, it felt like a metal cage closing around my heart. He bought gold for his mother. He bought a cooking pot for his wife on our anniversary. If it was you, would you still believe you are the most important woman in his life? That same week, I overheard something that removed the last hope from my heart. It was late at night. My husband was lying in bed. It was late at night. I was lying in bed. My husband was in the sitting room with his mother. They did not know I was still awake. Their voices carried through the thin walls. I heard her say clearly, "This house is also my husband's house. That girl is just a caretaker. If she misbehaves, we will collect our son and our house back." My husband laughed softly. He did not correct her. He did not defend me. He just laughed. I pulled the pillow over my face and cried until my chest hurt. The night she made me sleep on the floor was the night I truly understood my position in that marriage. We had a small disagreement in the bedroom. Nothing serious. I was tired from work. I had cooked, cleaned, and served everyone. When my husband came home, instead of asking how I was feeling, he started telling me how his mother complained that the living room was dusty. I said very quietly, "Can you please ask me before your mother moves things around? I just want to feel like this is our home, not only hers." He frowned immediately. "So, you are jealous of my own mother now?" "I am not jealous. I just want us to decide things together." Before he could respond, the bedroom door pushed open. His mother had been listening the whole time. "So, you have grown wings," she said, her eyes burning. "You want to divide my son from me. You want to compete with my own mother." "No, Ma, I did not mean—" "Shut your mouth," she snapped. Later that night, as we were preparing to sleep, she came to the bedroom door again. She pointed her finger at me and said, "You, take your pillow and sleep on the floor." I thought I had heard her wrong. "Ma, what?" "Sleep on the floor," she repeated, "so that my son can rest properly on the bed. You are the one causing him stress. Go down and cool your brain." I looked at my husband. My heart was begging him to say something, to tell my mother that I was his wife, not a house girl, to protect me. He avoided my eyes. Then he said quietly, "Grace, please, just do it for tonight. My mom is upset. Tomorrow we will talk." So I took my pillow, I took a thin wrapper, and I spread them on the cold tile floor beside the bed. The tiles were hard against my bones. The floor was cold like a slab in a mortuary. Above me, my husband climbed into the soft bed. In the next room, my mother went to sleep peacefully. And I lay there on the ground, in my own home, next to my own marriage bed, wondering how my life had come to this. The next morning, I tried to talk about what happened, but my husband turned everything around. You are always complaining, he said. You want me to choose between you and my mother. I cannot live like this. I said, I just want respect. I am your wife. He grabbed a small bag and started packing. If you cannot live with my mother, I will go back to her house for peace. I cannot stay where my own wife is fighting my mother. He left, just like that. He chose his mother's house over his wife. For the next 3 days, our flat was silent. I called him many times, but he did not pick. I sent messages, but he did not reply. My head started to ache. My chest felt tight all the time. I was not eating well. I was not sleeping well. The stress was eating me from the inside. One afternoon, I was at work when the room started spinning. My colleague was talking to me, but her voice sounded far away. The last thing I heard was someone shouting my name. Then the floor came up to meet me. Everything went black. When I opened my eyes, I was in a hospital bed. There was a needle in my hand. The smell of medicine filled the air. A doctor in a white coat was standing beside me, looking at a chart.
Madame, he said gently, you collapsed from exhaustion and stress. Your blood pressure is very high. You need to rest. Then he paused and looked at me with a different expression. There is something else, he said. You are pregnant, about 8 weeks. My hand went to my stomach. Pregnant? The word felt strange and beautiful in my mouth. After everything, there was a new life growing inside me. Tears filled my eyes, but this time they were tears of hope. I thought of my husband. I imagined how his face would light up when I told him he was going to be a father. Maybe this child would finally make him see me as his real family. Maybe now he would choose me over his mother. As soon as the nurse removed the drip, I picked up my phone and called him. The phone rang and rang. Then his mother's voice answered. Yes? What do you want? Ma, please, I said, trying to stay calm. I need to speak to my husband. It is very important. I am in the hospital. He is resting, she said coldly. Why are you always disturbing my son? You young girls, every small thing you are shouting emergency. Be strong. Stop using sickness to hold my son. Before I could explain, she cut the call. I tried again. This time, my husband picked. Hello? His voice sounded distant. It is me, I said quickly. I am in the hospital. I fainted at work. They said my blood pressure is high and I took a breath. I am pregnant. You are going to be a father. There was silence for a moment. Then he sighed. Okay, we will talk later. I am driving. I am taking my mom to a spa. She has been complaining of body pain. I cannot talk too much right now. Please, I begged. I am scared. Later, he said, and he ended the call. I stared at the phone in my hand. My husband had just learned that his wife was pregnant and was in the hospital, and his response was that he was taking his mother to a spa. That moment, something small died inside me, but something else was just beginning to awaken. Over the next few weeks, my pregnancy grew. I whispered to the tiny life inside me every night, stay strong, my child. Even if your father is not here, I will protect you. I will love you enough for 2 parents. My husband came to see me only twice, and both times his mother came with him. She sat in our living room, rubbing her knees, talking about her own blood pressure, her own joints, her own diet. He fussed over her like she was the one who was pregnant. Mom, are you comfortable? Do you need water? Is the chair too hard? He barely looked at my growing belly. One evening, I reached out my hand to hold his. He pulled away gently and stood up. I have to go, he said.
I promised Mom I will take her to that new spa this weekend. You know she has been complaining of back pain. I said quietly, my own back is also paining me. The doctor said I should not be alone too much. I am scared something will happen. He smiled like I was being dramatic. You worry too much. Nothing will happen. You are a strong woman. Then he kissed my forehead lightly, like a brother visiting a sick relative, and he kissed his mother's hand like a king saying goodbye to his queen. That night I held my belly and prayed, God, please protect my baby. Even if the father does not care, please let this child survive. The day everything broke apart, the sky was clear and the sun was bright. There was nothing to warn me that my life was about to shatter into pieces. I woke up that morning with a small pain in my lower belly. I thought it was normal pregnancy discomfort. I did some light cleaning, I ate breakfast, then I lay down to rest. But the pain grew heavier, tighter, like a rope squeezing from inside. Then I saw the blood. At first, it was just a small stain on my clothes. But by the time I reached the bathroom, it was running down my legs. My hands started shaking. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. No, 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 I whispered. Not my baby. Please, God, not my baby. I grabbed my phone with trembling fingers. I called my husband. No answer. I called again. No answer. I called his mother. She picked up with an annoyed voice. Yes? What do you want? Ma, please, I cried, trying to stay calm. I need to speak to my husband. It is very important. I am in the hospital. We are on the road. We are almost at the spa. Call a taxi or call your neighbor. Be strong. We have already paid for this place. I cannot tell my son to turn back because of small blood. She ended the call. I do not know how I got from the bathroom to the corridor. I think I screamed. The next thing I remembered, my neighbor was in my house, holding me. Jesus Christ, she shouted. You are bleeding. Hold on, let me find a bike. She wrapped a cloth around me, grabbed my phone and bag and dragged me outside. She stopped a commercial motorcycle on the road. On that bike, every bump was fire in my body. I held my stomach and prayed, Baby, please, do not leave me. I am sorry I could not protect you better. Please stay. We reached the hospital. Nurses rushed out with a stretcher. They lifted me onto it and ran inside. That is where I began this story. On that bed, with that nurse shouting and a phone that nobody answered. In the labor room, the lights were bright and cold. The doctor's face was serious. Nurses moved around me quickly. The baby is coming too early, the doctor said. We will do our best. Madam, you need to push when I tell you. The pain swallowed everything. I screamed until my voice was gone. I held the bed rails until my fingers were numb. Somewhere in the middle of all that pain, I heard a tiny cry, a small, fragile sound, like a baby trying to take its first breath. Then, silence. When I woke up again, the room was quiet. The lights were dimmer. My body felt empty, like someone had scooped out my insides and left nothing behind. A nurse was standing beside my bed, adjusting a drip. Her eyes were kind but sad. I asked the only question that mattered. Where is my baby? She looked away. The doctor will come and explain. I knew then. I knew before anyone told me. The emptiness I felt was not just in my body. It was in my soul. My baby was gone. Later, the door opened. My husband walked in. His shirt was wrinkled. His eyes were red. Behind him stood his mother, holding her wrapper tightly, her face twisted with something between shock and guilt. My husband rushed to my bedside. Tears were streaming down his face. I am so sorry, he kept saying. I didn't know. My phone was on silent. When I saw your missed calls, we rushed here. The doctor said the baby didn't make it. I looked at him. I looked at his mother standing behind him, and for the first time in my life, something inside me stood up straight. Not my body. My body was too weak to move, but something bigger. My spirit, my voice, the part of me I had buried under years of silence. I spoke slowly, calmly, but every word carried the weight of everything I had swallowed. Listen to me, I said. From the day we got married, you have been married to your mother, not to me. I was just the girl washing plates in the house, dancing behind you at our own wedding, sleeping on the floor so that your precious son could rest properly. That is not true, he started to say. Let me finish.
He went silent. Even his mother's mouth fell open. They had never heard me speak like this. You bought her gold on our wedding anniversary, I continued. You bought me a cooking pot. You let her choose our furniture, our curtains, even the names of our future children. You let her answer your phone whenever I called. You let her tell me to sleep on the floor in my own bedroom. You left our home to go and stay in her house for peace. My voice was shaking, but I did not stop. Today, I was losing our baby while you were driving her to a spa. You did not hear my cries because you were listening to her stories. You did not see my blood because you were looking at her face. Tears were running down his cheeks now. They fell onto my hand lying on the bed. I am tired, I whispered. I carried this marriage on my back. I carried your mother on my head. And now I have carried a baby I will never hold. I cannot carry all of this anymore. He grabbed my hand. What are you saying? Please, we can change. I will set boundaries. I will tell my mother to stay in her own house. We can fix this. I looked at him, really looked at him. I saw the boy who danced with his mother while I stood alone at my own wedding. I saw the man who let me sleep on the cold floor without saying a word. I saw the husband who was not there when our child came into the world and left it on the same day. Let your mother be your wife fully, I said quietly. Sleep in her room, answer her calls, buy her gifts, dance with her. I am stepping down. I refuse to be the side chick in my own home. His mother started to speak. You ungrateful! I turned my eyes on her. Ma, please, I said calmly. You have had your son to yourself all his life. Keep him. I am done fighting you for a man who could not even pick my call when I was bleeding. For once in her life, she had nothing to say. That night, after they left, my own mother came to the hospital. She sat on the chair by my bed. She looked at my face, at the tubes connected to my arm, at my empty eyes, and she started to cry. What happened, my daughter? Tell me everything. So I told her. From the wedding dance to the night on the slope, from the Dubai trip to the spa day, from the blood to the baby that did not survive. By the time I finished, my strong mother, the woman who always said endure, was shaking with sobs. I am sorry, she cried, holding my hands. I am so sorry, my child. I taught you to keep quiet inside a burning house. I told you to stay even when the fire was burning your skin. They taught me the same thing. I did not know any better. I am so sorry. I squeezed her hands. We cannot change the past, Mama, I said softly, but we can change what I will do now. 3 weeks later, when I was strong enough to walk, I went back to the flat. My husband was waiting there. He looked like he had not slept in days. When he saw me, he fell to his knees. Please, he begged, I will send my mother back to the village. I will change my phone number if I have to. Do not leave me. I need you. I looked around the flat. The leather sofa his mother chose, the dark curtains she hung,
the heavy glass table she brought, the bed where I had slept on the floor beside it like a dog. I already left, I said gently. The day our baby died, something in me died too. But something else woke up. The woman who stayed silent for years is gone. I want a life where I am not competing with another woman for my own husband, even if that woman is his mother. I moved out that same week. I packed my things quietly. I took only what was truly mine. I left behind the cooking pot. The divorce took time. He refused at first. He cried. He begged. He brought pastors and uncles and aunties to talk to me. They all said the same thing. All marriages have problems. Forgive, stay, think of what people will say. But I thought of what my baby would say if that child could speak to me. Would my child say, "Mommy, go back and suffer so that people will not talk"? Or would my child say, "Mommy, choose life"? I chose life. When the papers were finally signed, I went to a small guest house and locked the door. I lay on the bed and cried, not from regret, from release. I was no longer a wife. I was no longer a side chick. I was just me, finally free. With time, my pain became a road that other women could walk on. I started going to a counseling center that helped women who had lost babies or lost themselves in bad marriages. I met others like me, women who had been silenced, women who had been made to feel like strangers in their own homes, women who were still sleeping on floors, still swallowing their pain. One day, the woman who led the group said to me, "You speak so gently, but your story is powerful. Have you ever thought about helping other women set boundaries?" I laughed. Me? I was the quiet one. I never knew how to speak up. She smiled. Sometimes the quiet ones, when they finally speak, their words heal people. So I began to learn. I attended workshops. I read books. I learnt about emotional abuse. I learnt about unhealthy bonds between mothers and sons. I learnt how culture sometimes uses the word respect to cover wickedness. Soon, I started a small support circle. We called it Daughters with Voices. Women came from everywhere. They sat in safe spaces and finally said things they had never been able to say before. I am tired. I am scared. I feel invisible in my own home. I love my husband, but his family is destroying me. And I would tell them, respect is not the same as slavery. You can honor your in-laws without losing yourself. God did not create you to be the carpet under anybody's feet. Little by little, my pain turned into a lantern, a light I could hold up for other women walking through the same darkness. Years passed. I grew stronger, not just in my body, but in my mind. I rented my own small apartment. I painted the walls the color I chose. I bought curtains I liked. I slept in the middle of my own bed, free. One day, I was invited to speak at a big women's conference in the city. The hall was full. Women from all over the country had come. Young women, old women, married, single, widows, all of them searching for something. I stood on the stage with a microphone in my hand, and I told my story. I did not mention names. I simply said, there was a woman who slept on the floor so her husband could rest on the bed. There was a woman whose mother-in-law chose everything in her house. There was a woman whose baby died while her husband was at a spa with her mother. That woman thought she would die too, but she did not. She rose, and so can you. When I finished speaking, people stood up and clapped. Some women were crying, some were smiling with new strength in their eyes. As I stepped down from the stage, I noticed two figures near the back of the hall. My heart skipped. It was my former husband. He was thinner than I remembered. There were lines on his face that had not been there before. His shoulders were bent like he was carrying an invisible weight. And beside him, in a wheelchair, sat his mother. A shawl was wrapped around her shoulders. Her hair was mostly grey now. She looked small, fragile, nothing like the woman who once ordered me to sleep on the floor. He waited until the other people had finished greeting me. Then he walked forward slowly. His mother's wheelchair made a soft sound against the floor. "You spoke well," he said quietly.
"Thank you," I replied. My voice was calm. He swallowed hard. "My mother wanted to come. She does not go out much these days. When she heard your voice online, she said she wanted to see you in person." I looked at the old woman in the wheelchair, the woman who had controlled every corner of my marriage, the woman who had made me feel like a servant in my own home. She looked up at me. Her sharp eyes were softer now, dimmed by age and something that looked like regret. "I do not have many words," she said slowly. "I was wrong. I held my son too tight. I hurt you. I cannot change the past, but I am sorry." Once, I had dreamed of hearing those words from her. I thought they would heal me. I thought they would fill the empty spaces she had carved in my heart. Now, they just floated in the air, light, too late to carry any real weight. My former husband took a deep breath. "I know I do not deserve it," he said, "but I want to ask, is there any chance at all, that we could start again? Just you and me this time. My mother will stay in her own house. I will prove to you that I have changed." I looked at him for a long moment. I saw the man who had chosen his mother over his wife over and over again. I saw the father who was not there when our child needed him most. Then I saw the woman I had become, the women I was helping, the room I had painted with my own hands, the mirror where I finally recognized my own face. "I forgive you," I said softly. "Both of you. Not for you, but for me. I do not want to carry this weight anymore." Hope lit up in his eyes. "So, does that mean," I said, "it means I forgive, but I will not return. I have built a life where I am not second to anybody's mother. I cannot go back to being the side chick to your mother or to anyone." His shoulders dropped. Tears slid down his face. He nodded slowly. "I understand," he whispered. "I just wanted to try." He stepped back, wiping his eyes. He took hold of his mother's wheelchair and began to push it away. I watched them go. Two people who once controlled my entire world, now walking out of a hall where I was the one holding the microphone. For the first time, I felt no anger, no longing, no pain, only peace. I turned back to the women waiting in the hall. Women who needed to hear that their voices mattered, that their lives were worth more than silent suffering. "All right, my sisters," I said, smiling. "Who is ready to learn how to set boundaries with love, not fear?" They clapped. Some stood up, and as I began to speak again, I knew something clearly. I once was the side chick to my husband's mother. Now, I was the main character in my own life. Thank you so much for watching. What did you learn from this story? Let me know in the comments below. And do not forget to like and subscribe. Your support helps more women hear stories like this one. Until next time, remember, your voice matters, your life matters, and you were never created to be second place in your own home.